Samsung is scrambling to keep U.S. customers after recalling all the Note 7 phones due to the fires or explosions. They are offering a credit if you get a different Samsung device. If you exchange the Note 7 for any other Samsung device, you'll get a $100 credit. So what is the future of Samsung now, both in the short term and the impact to the brand? With us tonight for a closer look is Jamison Cush, executive editor at Tech Target. Jamison, good to have you here.
Thank you.
So a new survey out today, and there are all kinds of surveys, but I found this one interesting. It was online today. It said 40% of current Samsung users claim they will never buy another Samsung phone. So what's your take on how this is going to, at least in the short term, affect sales of Samsung devices?
Well, that's a horrible number if you're Samsung. I think the good news for Samsung, though, is that in terms of brand loyalty, people are loyal to the platform. So you have Google Android fans and Apple iOS fans, Windows fans, that sort of thing. So if Samsung continues to make the best Android hardware, and they have been making the best Android hardware so long as it doesn't explode, they'll come back. I don't think that it's going to be a crippling thing.
A long-term thing. In the short term, who do you think is going to benefit most? Because obviously Apple sells competing phones. Google's got the new Pixel. Who's going to benefit the most?
Oh, it's definitely Apple. Right now, the best phone you can buy, that's the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. Samsung has nothing to compete with that right now, and it's kind of a shame because the Note 7, before it exploded, it was probably the best phone you could buy. I think it was better than the iPhone. They have the S7.
I can hear people yelling, all the Apple fans yelling at their TVs right now.
Well, I'm unbiased. So they have the old S7 and S7 Edge, but they're 8 months old. They have that tarnished branding behind them. So I think it's really Apple's game. Yeah,
it was interesting. You sent me some statistics here. The Galaxy phones are responsible for about 23% of the market. iPhones about 15%. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that Samsung was the leader in that area. There are also a lot of other cheaper brands out there. They would, I would think, other Android brands that would pick up some of this market share.
Oh, sure. And I think this is the sort of existential threat to the iPhone and to Samsung. There's a lot of these great handsets coming out of China from brands like Huawei, ZTE. They're coming to America. I say they're 90% of a flagship at 50% of the price. So long term, you see smartphones becoming a commodity. And, we're not going to pay $800 for a smartphone when we can get something just as good for $400, $200, $300.
Hey, price is everything, especially with these days with the manufacturers or the companies. The phone companies not giving you the kinds of breaks that they used to when you bought a contract with them, a long-term contract.
Oh, sure.
Price the phone, they don't have that anymore. Mm-hmm. What does it mean just overall, though, for Android-powered phones? I mean, is this a big hit? Because, I mean, these are all, they, as you say, they made the best Android software. So is this a hit for Android?
Well, if you look at the sheer number of Android handsets, they're 85% of the market, and that's 2 billion smartphones in use right now. So even if all 2.5 million Note 7 owners bought an iPhone, you're talking now they have 84.8% of the market. It's just so enormous. Yeah, it's really kind of a blip in the long term.
Interesting. All right, so what is this, how does Samsung recover as a brand? I mean, is it just time? You think that, that they have great brand loyalty, but so is it just time? Well, how do they recover?
Well, they have another chance. We have the S8 and the S8 Edge. We think they're going to launch that in February. I think if they produce great hardware like they've been doing, and it's a critical darling like the other Galaxy phones have been, and they undercut iPhone on price, I think they'll recover a lot of the lost market share.
It's interesting because this is not the only product that they've had trouble with lately. They have problems with their washing machines and some other Samsung products. So there's an 8 that's coming out in the wintertime in February.
Well, keeping with tradition, I don't have any insider knowledge that I'm sharing, but they usually release a phone, the Note in the fall, and the S8 and the Galaxy S8 Edge in the winter.
We'll have to wait for that one. Jamison Cush, executive editor at Tech Target. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.